time thing. We have 2 minutes on there. We are going live. I got the timer on 2 minutes. Nope, we're live. All right. We're back with another episode of Taboo Table Talk. This is your host, Michael, and I'm waiting for my wife to join our conversation today. We are getting started a little later, but we're grateful that you have joined us, and we thank God for you. Each and every Saturday, we're here at 5 p.m. Central Standard. And we have another good one for you today. Hopefully you could share the video and join the discussion, because it's going to be a good one. Just like last week, we had a lot of good discussion about things that we like and the preferences that we like about our spouses and the things that we don't want them to change. So we had a good discussion. If you hadn't had a chance, go back. I love you, but why do you keep changing the things that I like about you? It's the name of that video. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and get started. Got another good one. Please bear with us as we share the video. We're going to get started. I know you can see that countdown there. We're going to get started in about 43 seconds. Hopefully my wife will join me. We'll see. If not, we have to keep going. All right, we got about 35 seconds. We got a good one talking about it's a free country. Why do I have to pay for sex, especially in marriage? Hopefully you're not paying for sex outside of marriage. That's a whole different topic, but we are talking about why do you have to pay for sex in marriage. Talking about it's a free country. Why do I have to pay for sex, especially in marriage? What's up, Jamil? How you doing? We want to get started here soon. Alright, we are here. My wife is here. Let me bring this all the way down here. And so we thank you guys for joining us. Like I said, we are back with another good one, a good topic. It's a free country. First of all, happy 4th of July.
Happy 4th.
Happy Sabbath. Happy 4th. Happy Independence Day. I don't know if you can really see that. I'm going to probably move that lower third there. It looks like it's blocking stuff. But as you can see, it's a free country. Why am I paying for sex? And so we have a good one today. So give me a second to share the video and we'll get started. But I'm sure my wife would like to share some things with you.
Sorry guys, I'm still trying to do my hair. I'm all over the place. But we are so happy that you have joined us again live at 5. We told you we'd be here and you are here with us. And we are so grateful. We're here just talking. We're not trying to sell you nothing. We're not trying to say you can get this and buy one, get one free. We are just here, interested in wonderful conversation as we do this thing called marriage together. So that's why we're here. Again, we thank you so much for last week's show, for all of the love that you have showed just over this past season. We are grateful because it helps us stay focused. It helps us stay committed to what God has told us to do. So we have another good one today, y'all. We have argued about this one too. And so sometimes we're just here talking about our past discussions, right? It's like something always will come up with between Mike and I. Something, every week. So we're just here sharing. We are not the experts. We are not marriage counselors. We're just simply here to talk about what we've been going through. And thank you for indulging us this far.
Yeah, we appreciate it. So it looks like Daniel's joined us. Cal is here. Having all kind of issues today. I'm not sure why Facebook looks like this. It's a different format, so I'm struggling sharing the video. But we're gonna get the discussion going. How many people could say that sometimes marriage could get a little transactional? When we go through our day-to-day issues, then we start, start keeping and running a tally of things that we felt like we've done for each other.
And it can start to feel like a business. Or, with the business, look, I put this down and I'm going to receive this. Or, there's expectations there. There is a lot more. In marriage is different. So that's what we did this week as we were trying to, figure out what we're talking about. We compared them both. And we just talked about, has our marriage become a business? Am I saying you're not going to get this until you do this for me? Has it become that? So that's what we're going to talk about today. And at the bottom of it, I realized, look, I'm just trying to do a whole lot of generosity. I'm just trying to give and give and give and not expect anything in return. And when I do that, it takes my mindset away from that transactional thought process. But we've been there. I've been there. So we had to admit that this is taking place. Or at least I'll admit just a little bit.
So can you give us some examples? Okay. My computer. Okay. But what I was going to say is, again, when you feel like you wake up one morning and you feel like, hey, I'm not going to do this unless my spouse does this. Or statements, well, if you do this, then I'll let you do this. If you start hearing those types of buzzwords in your relationship, then you would know readily that your marriage or your relationship has become transactional. So what are some of the things? I know we used sex here as for a topic of discussion. That's one of the biggest ones. But there are other things to do. So there are other things that cause a transactional relationship other than sex. But we like to focus on that because that's one of the main issues that we see a lot of couples struggling with. For instance, I believe that, and I didn't want to get into this so early in the show, but I believe it has a lot to do with how we view sex, even prior to marriage and then post-marriage, when you're inside your marriage. Maybe your upbringing or your childhood, your view or your stance on sex. And we in this society have been conditioned to think that the woman gives sex to the man. And it's not really a reciprocal thing. It's more of, I'm giving you sex and you're really not giving me anything in return.
I'm doing you a favor, yeah.
It's like I'm doing you a favor. Mm-hmm. Sex is really for you. It's not for me. Mm-hmm. And so if you get sex from me, it's because I'm giving it to you and that's a need of yours. And I could really care less about that. So we want to talk about that. And
first of all, have you ever had this, you satisfy my need and then I'll satisfy your type of mentality? Has that ever run across your mind?
I believe that's a more subconscious for me. As a man, it's more subconscious for me. I think we do keep tallies or subconscious totals of what we think that we're entitled to in marriage, and when we don't receive it, then that's when the resentment builds up. So I feel like, well, a husband could say, or a person in the marriage could say, well, I work hard, so I deserve to come home to a clean house. There should be food waiting for me at the door. My wife should be basically half naked and ready and willing to do whatever.
That was a dream.
Willing to do whatever I want or what have you. So subconsciously, that may be something that we're considering, but it's not necessarily for me. For me, it's not something like I consciously think about, like, I'm entitled to this from you, so I deserve this. Please give me this. So I don't know about you. What is your thought on that?
I think, in researching this, a lot of times, and I've heard even some of my, people around me will say, look, I'll give him some when he puts the kids to bed, or I'll, if he's, been acting good all day. And if you truly realize that sex is a gift, I believe that you wouldn't have that same mindset, that you wouldn't think of it like that, like this is like it's mine and mine alone, instead of this is a gift that we're sharing together.
Okay, so let's get into that because I had to remind you this week of that. I mean, we got into.
No, I told you that's something I've overcome. You never have to remind me. I'm good.
Wait a minute, that's not true. We
I'm
just
good.
had this discussion this week, and I had to remind you that sex was a gift, and that the way we were looking at it is all wrong. You were, I think, in your mind, and we could go back to this. In your mind, you're looking at it as this is something I have to do for my husband. This is an obligation of mine. This is not something that's really in my mind. This is how I decoded that. This is not something that's enjoyable for me.
Oh wow!
I have to do this. Well, I mean, that's what you said. I have to.
I don't think you should take it that far.
Okay, well, explain to me. Help me.
You shouldn't take it that far.
Okay, how should I take it?
I just don't think. I think that you should look at the whole picture. Sometimes I'm tired, or sometimes I'm this. Like I said, I have developed the mentality for my sister-in-law, like never say, or try to never say no. And when I'm saying that, I'm not saying, oh, this is, I'm doing you a favor by always being available. But I'm saying that, it's a gift, and it is, I get something from it too. I enjoy it too. So why am I going to, say, oh no, you can't do this unless you've done A, B, and C, or this chore, or this. No, I really think there's always going to be something to complain about. I realize there's always going to be something that you're not doing. So why cut yourself short, as my other sister-in-law said? Like, why? You're messing yourself up.
So you agree? So you agree with that then?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think that. So if that was the case, I think if there was.
Okay, Mike, I'm not. I'm not gonna always like. Oh
I don't
my
think,
gosh.
Hold on, let's get into it because.
Okay, so you have an example.
No, let's get into it because I feel like you're being surface. I don't think you're really sharing the real thing.
All right, here's a real story that happened this morning. Go ahead.
No, forget that. We're going to get into that.
No.
Oh, no, that's coming.
No, go ahead.
But let's talk about what led up to this. I mean, again, we heard a sermon by Pastor Myron Edmonds, or a talk, and it's really for men. So I'm not sure why my wife.
I was all up in that.
I'm not sure my wife.
If you have not had a chance to go, okay, I'm sorry. I'll be quiet. No, I'll be quiet.
Okay, so listen to a sermon this week. It was by Pastor Myron Edmonds, and he was sharing with the men how he committed adultery against his wife with his career, with his ambitions, and his drive in the church. So he really didn't pay a lot of attention early on in their marriage to his wife. When she would speak to him about things that interest her, he would be very dismissive and short, like, oh, yeah. But really be constantly focused on his own personal gain and his own personal ambition. And he realized that as a man and as a husband, he really needed to level up in that area. So one of the things that he was saying that he did, he started cooking. And then he started being into what his spouse was into, i.e. gardening. She's very deep into gardening at this time. And he took on that active interest in gardening so he could share that commonality with her. And it's doing wonders for his marriage. But one of the things he did say, and I think that really struck a chord or resonated with my wife, which was a man talks. He really shouldn't have been on the Facebook Live, but he said that how you gonna ignore your wife or ignore your spouse all day, and then at 12 midnight be nudging on them and saying, hey, what's up? Let's have sex, or let's do this, or spend time with me and pay attention to me, after you didn't really invest or put that time in throughout the day. And so that's what kind of spurred this conversation. That's where we kind of start looking at that. That's a great point, and I agree that we need to be putting in and not being so expecting of things from each other without actually putting in that time and that energy. But I was looking at that, and my wife went on further. She started using a garden analogy. Would you like to share that, or you want me to share that?
Go ahead. Go ahead. Don't talk too much. Go
It's
ahead.
not that you. Okay, so now you don't want to talk. I'm saying you were interrupting me, though.
Okay. Go ahead. You got it.
Okay, so you don't want to talk. I'll share the story. The garden analogy. She was likening our marriage to gardens, and she was saying that you are trying to reap in areas where you have. Excuse me. You're trying to reap a harvest in areas in which you have not sown. So in other words, if you haven't put in the time or the energy or invested in paying attention to me or being connected to me emotionally, then you shouldn't be able to expect in return or make a withdrawal from something that you didn't put a deposit. Does that accurately sum up what you were saying?
It does. And
okay.
I have to give an example of what we're talking about and where your mentality comes from. Okay?
Please do.
Getting good. Let me go ahead and.
No, because you was being quiet at first.
I'm about to prove my point.
Well, let's see.
No. So anyway, so we're at the property. We love gardening. We try to teach our kids to do the same thing, and we've just been having a lot of great time living off the land as we prepare it for Joined at the Hip. So one day, I guess it was sometime in the spring. So I'm walking to the garden, and things are looking good. Things are starting to come up, and then Mike comes up, and really it kind of became the girls' project. If you don't know, I have 2 boys and 2 girls, so a lot of times our family is split. Mike will do the boys, I do the girls. So really, it became our garden, right? And so then he comes over, oh man, look at this so-and-so like that we did. And I'm like, hold up.
Look at this so-and-so that we did.
Or look at that vegetable that was growing like it liquid weed. I just heard a lot of weed, like weed. I'm like, hold up. Like, when was the last time you put your knees to the ground for this garden?
Okay.
So he got mad, he got upset, he got his pickaxe, and he got his boys, and they created a whole different situation. Like, you have your whole garden now with your and never the two shall meet.
Okay, so getting to your point, what are you?
My point is
getting to your point.
You get mad and kind of say, I'm taking my ball and going home, or I'm doing things my way, when that's not how it should work in marriage. I think you should have said.
Are you telling the full story? I mean,
okay, what's the full story?
Are there things that you left off?
What's the full story?
I'm gonna share.
All right, go ahead.
The point of the matter is they were the girls, or my wife and our $2 were taking credit for things in which I did. So, for example, the seeds were grown that I bought in the greenhouse that I built. The rows that were made by me and the boys pickaxing the garden. So it kind of bothered me for you guys, and this goes down to my next point. It was an accusation of me reaping what I have not sowed. So you're telling me that I didn't put in the time. So how are you going to come up
in this garden and knowing that you really haven't done anything?
That's not true. That's what I'm saying.
Right. And so that's kind of how we, like, how are you going to come to me at the end of the day when really you haven't invested in me, or you haven't tended into me, or you haven't cared about me? Like, how is my garden really? And he said that too. Like, you could tell a lot about, he said, I've spent a lot of time, looking good or whatever, but like, how many of us, or I don't want to offend anybody, but there have been times when I've looked pretty droopy. I'll just put it that way. And he said, how does your wife look? How are you pouring into her? And how are you, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, I hear what you're saying.
So that's what I was trying to say with comparing the two gardens, that you don't have a right to reap where you haven't sown. But I understand sex. I'm not that type of.
Wait. So can we back up a little bit? Because I feel like you're trying to glance over facts.
Okay.
Facts are, I did put in work. There would be no garden if no one hoed it, right?
All right.
The seeds were the plants that you transplanted were from the garden. From the greenhouse that I built.
Okay.
So for you to suggest in the 11th hour, and you taking offense to me sharing in the glory of the harvest was hurtful to me, because I know the work that I put in. Similarly, with this situation, you're still suggesting that I have not put in put in or sown a seed into the harvest, which is causing me to pause and causing me to take a step back, because that's the same accusation you made with the garden, and it's not true. So now we have to talk about, why do you feel that there was no effort being made? Where is that coming from? And I'm speaking to all the spouses who feel like their spouse does not deserve physical connection with them because they didn't put in the effort or the energy, or they're not meeting your requirements for that.
First of all,
so where does that come from?
Let's make this. I'm not this way. I'm not this way.
You're not this way.
No, I am.
You have.
There have been a few times that I try to make sure that I am totally 100% available, that I am all in, and that I will never, that I'm not telling you no, I'm not giving you excuses or whatever. And then I have this mentality too that is, I enjoy it as well. So it's not a chore. It's not something that I have to check off at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? So I don't feel that way. I don't feel that way. But I know that there's a lot of women who do.
But so there is an issue which suggests that if he doesn't, and I've heard women say this, and it's not just women, maybe there's some men who also say this, if they don't do da 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 da, then they better not come to me asking me for sex or asking me for connection, because they didn't do what I asked them to do.
Right.
So, and to answer your question, Mom, do you feel that a woman should never deny her husband lovemaking no matter what? No, I don't feel like that, but I do feel like there's a stigma on, and there's an overall consensus in this country, especially, that sex is for the man and not for the woman. So it's really only a desire and need of ours, and couldn't be any further from the truth. So the way that it's played in marriages and relationships is, I have something that he wants from me, so now I can use that as leverage to manipulate and control him through that. So that's the way sex is seen in marriage today. It's really for the man. They really need, a woman could go without it. And I don't think that's true. I think if we start looking at it, it's God created it as a gift that's pleasurable for both people to enjoy. And so we shouldn't refrain from engaging in that under the marriage banner. And then also the Bible says, do not forsake coming together as husband and a wife, or lest the devil will get a foothold in your marriage. So don't withhold or defraud each other in that way. But oftentimes we see a lot of that in marriages for whatever reason. Because the spouse may feel, hey, they disrespected me, or I'm upset with them, or they didn't listen to me. That's a big one. He's not listening, so why should I give him sex? So again, the mind is telling you, I'm giving him something, but I'm not receiving anything. And so you've already told your mind that this is a one-sided transaction. And so that's the danger of the transactional relationship that we're trying to avoid in our marriage. The problem started when the statement went, you didn't take part in this. What if the husband takes the same stance? Thank you, Kyle. You didn't take part in this. Or because you didn't do this, I'm not doing this for you. We have to be careful with that, because we're a couple. God made us one flesh. We're supposed to work, and whatever success that you have is also my success, and vice versa.
We win together.
We win and lose together.
Yeah.
And that's not always the case. I feel like sometimes we're in competition with each other.
And the transactional mindset has you keeping tallies.
Yes, I was about to say that.
Yeah. Score. How many? Oh my gosh. We used to be really bad.
No, it's not used to be.
Okay, no.
We're still there.
No. I have overcome by the blood of the Lamb.
The other day.
Just the other day. What?
I need a break too. This is the subconscious scores that we take, and we don't even know. A lot of this is subconscious reactive behavior. You got to spend this amount of time away from the house.
First of all, I hate when you try to talk like
that's what you. Like this is a quote. Okay, I'm just telling you what I heard. You was able to go and have your own freedom away from the kids, away from the house. I need 3 hours because you got 3 hours.
I don't remember any of this taking place, but okay.
Oh, we have a whole show about it. We could go back and review the show.
You said last week. What happened last week?
You said that the other day about time you spent not getting enough time away, and the mental stress of that. What I mean, okay. Are we arguing that?
Okay. All right.
So that's subconsciously keeping score, rather than saying, hey, it may not always, everything is not always going to look as balanced as it should in marriage, and we can't always look from that perspective. Well, he got 3 hours. That means if I don't get 3 hours this week, so help me, I'm done. You know,
I see where you can see that's transactional.
That's transactional, yeah. and it perpetuates that, okay, well, now I got to do this. Yeah. If she going to take that, then what else can I get on the back end?
Right.
It's now... it's like we're in business and we're trying to get the better. We're trying to win the deal from each other. Mm-hmm. And I don't think marriage should be based off of that.
Right.
So, speak on it. The accusations of not being apart. What if they were doing something else so that a spouse can have that time to do something? Correct. I think we just touched on that. Do you both ask each other before you approach each other for love making? Do you feel up to it tonight or this morning? You don't.
If you don't
accept the answer gracefully and have compassion, wait until the next opportunity. Yeah, I mean, again, this intimacy is not that it's not that big of a struggle for me. I think we both kind of got to the understanding now. At year 14, almost, we're going on. July 9th will be we would make 14 years. So we've already worked through some of those kinks early on in the relationship where we've learned not to say no to each other. We have to be very upset with each other not to
like
come
when
together.
He didn't bring my water home that time.
Thank you. That was the point I was trying to make.
Was not.
A few weeks ago, because Erica was just saying, I never deny you. I never deny you. I said, okay, oh really? I said, what about when you're upset? And so she's like, oh, how often? I said, okay. So when that day when I didn't bring that water home, it was like 3 or 4 days before we were able to reconcile.
No, Mike, no.
I'm telling you what I know.
No,
I'm not telling you.
No.
Okay. How long was it?
Probably the next day, Mike. In fact, we worked it out that night, but I was just so like into my feelings that I couldn't even.
Men give love to get sex. Women give sex to get love. I'm not. I don't know. I don't know if I agree. I like the comment. It sounds good, but I don't know if I agree with that, James. I think you could genuinely love your wife without expecting anything in return. Because when you say that, it attaches a motive that may or may not be.
So you've never been provoked, or you've never done something for me knowing what was going to happen at the end of the day. You never said, man, I'm going to go get her favorite food, or whatever the case may be. But see, and the thought never crossed your mind, I'm doing this because I know that it's going to score me points.
You missed the point. You're attaching a negative motive to me doing something nice for you. And that's dangerous. Because no one does that for the woman. We don't do that for you.
Okay.
Oh, the woman just wants to be loved. So she's giving sex. So she's the victim. Here's what I'm saying. We could, out of the kindness of our heart, and want to see your reaction and the way we make you feel by the gifts we bring home. I've done that several times. I just want to see her light up. I want to see her. You
were acting so perfect.
No, I'm just saying that's
so
you guys are. I don't like this, and this is where the stigma on men are just these sex crazed beasts who just that's all they think about constantly. No, we tap into our emotions too. We want to see joy and love on your face. We want to do something nice to light up and brighten your day.
So at the end of the day, all right. So let's say you go and get me an outfit and you bring me back because you did well last week. I was like, okay, I took a break from fasting and I was like, go give me Olive Garden, Mike. And you did, right? And so you don't get it and thinking, oh, what if I had said no? What if I said, oh no, I'm tired? At the end of the night.
Okay.
Like, oh my gosh,
Will
you really
will I
doing
be
that?
ups-
Like,
wait,
you
hold
would
on.
blow
Will
that.
I
You
be-
would put that up in my face.
Hold-
Like, what? I went and got Olive Garden. I went and did
hold
this
on.
and that, and
See?
you still not.
See how you're
Mike,
over
don't
talking
do
me?
that.
You
Okay.
asked me a question.
I'm sorry.
See how you're over talking me? Hold on. If I would want to have sex after that,
And I
you
said no.
denied me, I would be upset. But then I would also be upset if you denied me and I didn't get you Olive Garden. So you can't attach the motive of me getting Olive Garden to me not being rejected for sex. Those things are mutually exclusive. They don't have nothing to do with each other. I got you Olive Garden because you said that's what you wanted. And that's what a good husband would do. What? Why can't it just be that? Why does it have to be all ulterior motive and manipulation? You're getting Olive Garden so you can get some sex tonight. No. I want to see you light up. You have been fasting. And I told you I wanted you to not always fast all the time. So I was happy to get that for you. Why is it always negative when it's perceived that the men are looking for something? Why?
Okay. I didn't
Why
know
does our mind always jump to that? That time things in all marriage, keeping score. You had your time. I need mine. Yep.
Whatever, Kyle.
That's
Whatever.
Fact. Donna said that's not facts. That's facts. Mike, are you saying that you are building the greenhouse and buying this seeds plays a role in the growth of the garden? Because that still wouldn't make the garden grow. The seeds had to be planted in water. Yes, it did. Those seeds were grown in the greenhouse. You took the plants and planted them in the garden.
But I felt like, you know what,
Wait,
Mike?
no.
I felt, let me just say, can I say my point?
Because you just cut
Then you're
that
going to say I cut you off. Let me say my point.
The seeds were planted in the greenhouse first, and then the plants, as they were this big, were transplanted in the garden. So that greenhouse made everything.
But I felt like, okay, yes.
Okay.
You did help put the seeds into the greenhouse, yes. But I feel like after some time, like you washed your hands of it. Like once everything was in the ground, like I remember the kids going up there and taking weeds out and saying this is like, you kind of washed your hands of it. So you can't say either you're all in or you're not. Either you're all in or you're not. You were kind of done with it.
So
and you had moved on to something else.
So I was just playing then.
No,
while you were gardening, I was just playing.
No, you were. No, you had moved on to another project.
Okay, so I'm doing something else for the family.
But then don't
what are you
come
saying?
around the garden and say we. Like you have.
So okay, so now let's talk about it. This is what gets me right here. This is the same mentality, and we have to talk about it as men because this is a problem. You want to downplay the active role that I played in us having a garden, knowing that it was my back that plowed that garden. I put the fence around the garden to keep vermin and things out of it. I built the greenhouse from scratch. And bought the seeds and we planted it in the greenhouse so that doesn't account for anything. You're saying that's nothing, and now that it's time to reap the harvest, what are you doing reaping our harvest because we were the ones tending to the garden? I started the garden. And
then you were done. You started and said,
"Wow, okay."
So what does that teach our children?
No,
when you
done.
say, "I said we who," and then you go and create your own garden, and then you get mad if we even step over there. We cannot step in this dude's garden, right? The boys, oh my gosh, Mom, your pants looking dry, and your pants. The competition in this family, Mike, that started because of that. All you had to say was, I think all you had to have was a conversation, but you just took it like. Now our kids, I don't know.
I'm not sure what happened here, but there's a disconnect. If you don't see how I was instrumental in us having a garden, the first garden that you claim as your own, I planted that. That's my winter garden that's just now springing up.
Mike, I paid somebody to till that for us.
He tilled a small little scratch patch like that, and I opened.
It's the same.
That's not true. I opened it all up, and I put the fencing and the post.
10 by 10, Mike. Okay.
That thing is way big.
All right. Well.
Okay, so I see this. We're not getting anywhere. So I'm gonna move on.
The point is.
No, it's not a point because we haven't made a point.
All right. We'll just let it go.
Here's the disconnect, and I think a lot of women may suffer with this. So I think hopefully this will be helpful for the wives and other people that struggle with giving credit where credit is due, and people that keep tallies of things and don't accurately keep an account of something.
Okay.
You're saying that, let's get back to the sex analogy. For a wife or a woman who denies her husband sex based off of the emotional connection or lack thereof, you're saying, he didn't pour into me today. Okay, now you have to quantify what you mean by he didn't pour into you. Okay, if you ask 10 different women, they're going to say 10 different things.
It's going to be different for everybody.
There's no rubric for that.
Yeah.
It's abstract. There's no way to quantify that. Now, a man will respond and say, I did pour into you today. I did da 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 da. A man will be, a husband will be able to accurately list the things that they did to pour into their wives. When you called, you asked me to run to the store and get this. You said you had a problem with this at work. We had a conversation. I sent you a text and saying it's going to be all right. And we have to prove. So in other words, it's more of an accusatory stance that we're taking in our marriage, based on rather than doing things for each other out of the kindness of each other's heart.
Right. That's what it's about. Yeah. If I get nothing in return, right? If you're saying if you don't even get sex at the end of the day, that's not going to stop you from doing what you're supposed to. Okay.
Okay, so wait a second. Okay,
Gotcha.
let's take it a step further.
Gotcha.
I'm not, you're not going to eat today, and I'm not buying any groceries or putting any money or doing this because I feel like you're neglecting me in the bedroom or I'm not getting what I want. Well, I mean, how far do we keep, because that thing could snowball out of perspective and get out of hand if we keep doing these transactional things in marriages where we always one-upping each other.
Yeah.
You're saying but
no, I totally.
I know for a fact that you don't mean that.
I do.
Okay. Getting a break from the kids is a necessity. If he gets alone time, then she should get alone time. Some people need more alone time. Very good. Anthony and Caroline are here loving the ministry. Thank you, Anthony.
But whose side are you on today, Anthony? Huh?
It's okay, Michael Awani. I start projects that I don't finish too. Wow. So you guys are suggesting that. I bet you I finished that. I bet you I finished my garden, though. And
your garden is complete.
Okay, so
it looks nice.
I'm on to the
next. But you know what you did though?
Here we go.
Okay, no.
What did I do? Let's go.
So first of all, I think we put both gardens in an area that is like super hot, so it's not shaded at all. Like, so if it's 100 degrees, it's probably 150. Like, it's hot. So anyway, so one day Mike goes into the property with the kids, and I stay back. He brings water, 2 or 3 jugs, and then he only waters his garden.
What are you talking about?
You only watered your garden.
It's not my garden, and you already said I didn't do anything.
What kind of example are we setting for our children?
Well, I only had enough water. It's just like the 5 wise and 5 foolish virgins. If I give water to your garden, then I may not have enough for mine. That's like the Holy Spirit. I can't give you what you should have came prepared. Right. That's Bible.
So our stuff was
that's Bible. Ain't nothing but the word.
And the vegetables next door got some water.
I brought enough oil for me and water for me in my garden. And plus you said I wasn't doing nothing anyway.
All right. So y'all probably think I'm trying to have my cake and eat.
Yeah, that is cake and eating too.
I'll be good.
What if the same garden scenario was in other areas? He started the garden, he went off to work. So now his part in the garden is not valid? This is common. He went to work so you could stay home in the garden. If roles were reversed, what would have happened? Very good point.
Wow, Kyle, you on the road today.
So I moved on to another project that's also beneficial for the family. I'm building something else, probably a chicken coop or something like that for the family. So you're judging me for my self-sacrificing role and doing things for the betterment of the family, and then telling me that I can't reap the harvest on what I started.
Okay.
Now, what is that? Now, what are we doing with that now?
All right.
Now
Thank you so much.
Now let's translate that into the sexual conversation.
This morning.
How does the man feel when he's rejected because his wife says that she didn't get what she needed or she felt like she was rejected?
Good question.
How do we? Because we showed you, men are. Just to say general. We're able to list and be able to quantify what impact that we had in a day or what value was added. So what if his contention there was value added. I did da 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 da, and you still don't feel that was the case, or you don't see it that way. What do you do when there's an impasse like that, or there's a disconnect on what value you're bringing? Like in our situation with the garden, what value, perceived value that I brought with the greenhouse and me plowing and hoeing and doing all the things necessary for you to get the. What if there's a disconnect there? How do you manage that, and how do you work through that to where you could come to a compromise, and where someone's not feeling slighted or manipulated? What do we do with that scenario?
That's a good question.
So if you could go back and do it all over again, i.e. this morning.
Okay, what happened this morning?
All right, long story short, hopefully there's no children watching.
No children, get off.
So we're at the country without the children. We're at the other property in the country.
So first of all, my in-laws are here for the weekend. These kids got on my nerves yesterday. So Michael and I, we had a couple of chickens here. So I said, okay, they gotta go. So we just slipped out of the house. Like nobody knew we were going. No, I didn't tell my in-laws. Didn't really tell the kids. We were just out of here. Like we left.
And so we drive to Ardmore. We get to the property. We do what we need to do. Drop off the other chickens, and then it's time to go. I'm like, no, let's not go. Let's stay and have a quickie real quick in the car. Did I say that? What was your reaction?
And this is something you never.
I don't even think in those times.
I mean, never.
I never even think like that. So I'm thinking outside
not.
the box, trying to be spontaneous, being creative with my young, beautiful, good-looking wife. I said, let's have a quickie in the car. What? We're grown. We're married. Who cares? The kids aren't around. We got this whole property to ourselves.
And we had the van.
So there's plenty of room in there.
Very possible.
But guess what my wife said? Nah, I don't think so.
And what was your reasoning?
What was my reasoning?
Yes.
For wanting to?
No, you said that's because the day has barely started.
I know why you said no. The reason why you were saying no is because you felt like it was only like 11:30. You felt like I haven't done enough.
That's not true.
To deposit enough emotionally into you that would warrant that type of request. That's how I felt.
That's not true.
I mean, it may not be true, but that was the perception I get. Because it's 11:30. Oh, he hadn't poured in enough into my emotional bank account to withdraw that type of transaction. Really, that's basically what you're saying.
I was stunned. I was shocked. Like, you never, like, I was just shocked. Can I be shocked? Like, the next time.
You're a grown woman and we're married. Why would you be shocked that your husband wants to have sex with you?
In a car? Like in the
van? In a van. That ain't a car. The seats, the back seats recline and all that good stuff. Yeah, so, so that's where we, because
my legs were already sticking together because it was so freaking hot outside.
Here we go.
No,
a woman would come up with an excuse.
There is no excuse. I was just shocked. I don't know why. I don't know, but it had nothing to do with this is early in the morning. You hadn't done nothing for me. No, that had nothing to do with it.
So any other day, you're too rigid. You're not spontaneous enough. You're this. You only want to do it in the bedroom. Get some adventure. Okay.
Man, that was a lot in that
because that's what you say. And then when a brother tries to step outside of the box, he's shot down. And this is why men traditionally stay in the box in the bedroom because it's not met favorably.
Okay.
It's not met favorably.
All right.
But Donna says, to me, these things are not the same things that we do because it helps the house run. Pouring means that you take time to find out what it means to each other.
What's my love language?
Very good.
Yes. So she's saying all that stuff doesn't even matter. If you pick up a broom or if you decide to go run to the grocery store so we can eat, that doesn't. I mean, those things mean a lot, but those are outside. That's what we need to make our home, keep running on a great whatever. But how does she want to be loved? Like, words of affirmation? That's my love language. Like, when is the last time that you have poured into me that way? Those are the things that counts. I think she means as far as.
Don't do the word. Every week on this show, I say some affirming things about my wife and how much I love and adore you.
Like, no, not when you're made. Not when I'm making.
This is my beautiful wife.
That is so rehearsed. No.
I don't
just
say
stop.
that on air. I don't
just
say
stop. Just stop.
Wow. Okay. See.
Just stop.
Again.
But yes, Donna, I agree with you. It is about the love language.
Again, this boils down to not receiving credit where credit is due, i.e., the garden. This is the whole mantra.
Okay, all right. So you will not. I'm sorry for not giving you credit.
Don't apologize.
I am sorry for not. If y'all both eating from both gardens, y'all both have 2 gardens.
Correct.
Exactly.
Kyle, shut up. Donna says it's important for us to be a team, often as possible, in beds, gardens, etc. Mike, I don't think you should have made a new garden.
Thank you.
But now that it's there, both of you have 2 gardens.
Yeah.
Be a team. What you mean you don't think I should have made a new garden?
It's very simple.
So if somebody, okay, let me flip it to Alana in terms that she's gonna understand. If somebody's
don't talk to people like
no,
that.
I'm not being rude. I'm saying I'm flipping the scenario.
Okay.
So she could see it from my perspective.
Okay.
That's what I mean by that. Not
Okay.
to say that she lacks understanding. I think she knows that about me. I would never say that.
You're the only one that could really get him a lot.
Let me say it so from a different perspective. If someone's telling you that you didn't add value to what their experience is, how would that make you feel knowing that you did put value and add value? How would you respond to that? Will you continue to do what you need to do and continue adding value there that's not recognized? Or would you go to another area where you could add value and see instant results of the value that you're adding and be celebrated for the value that you're adding? So don't go where you're tolerated, go where you're celebrated. So if somebody's devaluing what you brought, then you don't need to continue adding value in that area. They need to see, or they need to feel the withdrawal of the value that you add.
Wow.
So they can notice. No, that's fact.
Wow.
So they can notice the value that you bring.
And I can only notice this value if you withdraw.
Withdraw because what I'm doing now is I'm withdrawing my work. I'm withdrawing my effort. You said you didn't put any effort in the garden. I'm withdrawing all the effort that you felt that I didn't put in. And now you can see the neglect of the value that you thought I didn't add to the table. Now you're able to see it because I'm no longer hands-on because I didn't get credit for being hands-on. So now when I withdraw,
all right. Well,
you can see that So that's the only way that you're able to see. And then once that's recognized, then we could come back together and then say, hey, look at our gardens. That's the only way.
Okay. All right. Be a team.
Or do I continue to add value in there and run the risk of that me being
Or you don't think
residual?
sometimes that you have to remind, and you can totally disagree with this, remind someone of the value that you bring. So you could have said, and when you say, oh, look at that so-and-so that's growing, look what we did, and when you saw me kind of put one eyebrow up, you don't think that you could have reminded me of what the value that you brought to your table instead of just withdrawing altogether and saying, you know what, and I'm going to post the videos, y'all, of Michael actually taking the boys, talking about me and saying, look, I got this, we're done with y'all, we got this whole new garden. There is a video, honey.
Now the boys there
is a video.
The boys may have said some reckless stuff like that.
Right, led by their fathers.
You're not gonna tape me saying that.
Yes. So that is the new. Do we withdraw immediately? That's what we're teaching our children. We're teaching our children to withdraw. Take your ball and go home when somebody does not appreciate your value.
I think so. I think it's not that you didn't even appreciate.
Or do you man up?
You asked me a question.
Hold on. Or do you man up and say, look, I did this, I did this, I did this, and I did this? Can I
answer?
All right, go ahead.
You said, what are we teaching our kids?
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about what you said. Let's walk that back. You're constantly adding value to something, and someone's constantly saying, you don't add any value, you didn't do anything, get your hands off of this, you shouldn't reap it.
I did not. Okay.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
I'm speaking proverbially right now.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm speaking in a way where I've seen this happen. We could take it to the civil rights movement and how this country was built on black people's work and ingenuity, And then there's people out there that say we're the laziest demographic. We don't do anything. That's the equivalent of that. We worked for this country for 200 plus years or 400, whatever, how long slavery was. And for people to turn around and say, black people are lazy. They don't do anything. They don't come to work. They're slothful. That's a slap in the face. All the value that we've added to this country. Similarly with this situation, when you're maligned, when you felt like you're undervalued, you felt like people don't acknowledge your worth and your value, you start your own stuff. That's how Black Wall Street started. They said, forget that. They're not accepting us. They want us to segregate. We're going to start our own thing in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And they did it, and it was so successful that the people, I'm not going to call names, the people that didn't like what they did, that didn't give them value, dropped bombs on the place. They destroyed the place because they recognized that they were losing the value that the black people brought to society and economic.
All right.
So yes, I will teach my children, when you're being undervalued, when you're not being appreciated for the gifts and the things and the contributions you make, you go somewhere where you're appreciated. Okay, I will teach them that.
All right. Well,
but I didn't now in a competitive. I apologize for the competitive spirit.
Because once I post this video,
you don't post that video.
No, I will post the video, and you'll see that there was a competitive spirit.
From me?
There was a negative spirit. Well,
not for me.
There was a get your away from me. And
I would never say that to you. Now the boys,
no.
The boys took it too far.
Okay. And
because
man, who's their father?
Not a lot of boys. Okay. I thought it was cute at first.
Right.
I mean, the boys took it too far.
So anyway, we're gonna wrap this up. And so, what did we learn?
Hold on.
Okay.
Before you do that.
Yes.
Somebody says, "Man, y'all better put them seats down and get to it." Yes. So, yes, the hood.
The hood. So you better put those seats
y'all
down.
have pastors now there. But anyway, well, in conclusion, because something's going on with this internet or something. I'm not sure what's happening. But go ahead, sir. You're wrapping it up.
No, so yeah, we're wrapping it up. Is it still on?
I don't know. Go ahead.
So we're wrapping it up, and we're saying if I could go back, I would totally appreciate Michael's value and understand that. No, you can't do maybe the small jobs in a garden, or you can't pick every weed, but you did not have to pick every weed in order for you to feel like you were a part or valued in the garden that you put together. So I was totally wrong for that. But I hate that it had to come to the point where, look, will you go do your thing and I'm going to do my thing. I thought we taught our children a horrible lesson. And if I have an opportunity to have some type of, or have sex with you in a crazy place, I'm totally going to take it.
There ain't nothing but opportunity.
Ain't nothing but opportunity.
No, hold on now. Hold on.
Mike, it's been an hour.
Hold on now.
Okay. This is the last thing. I'm sorry. Okay. I can't ever say the right things.
No.
I always bring something that I can cover my mouth with.
I don't understand.
I know, she's telling you about to be hot anyway. I know that we had 60 miles. And
Pastor Snell says quickie in the car. Yes, definitely. I'm for that.
Oh.
Hey man, we're married though. Like I don't understand. Like I don't know what the issue was.
Mike, it was in a driveway. You understand that?
It's in my driveway.
It was a driveway.
We're in the country. It's a gravel road.
It is a gravel road.
Calm
there are
down.
people coming by, I guess maybe every 10 minutes. Like
it's the country.
And you're already paranoid. This is blah,
all right,
I don't know.
There's an excuse.
Okay.
You should write a book.
Hood though?
You should write a book.
We could have done that at the top. But, oh my God, we didn't even think of that. You know what? That's your homework. Go have a quickie, crazy sex somewhere with your spouse. I hate I didn't take that opportunity. I really do.
Yeah, I know. I hate it too as well.
Okay.
Think it outside the box, inside the van. Love it, bro. And by the way, you were trying to pour in. Yes, thank you. Erica, if you could do things over, would you do the quickie? Would you give in?
I would.
Mayday, mayday. Mike is crashing.
He doesn't care.
Hey, Pastor, this is an everyday
What?
No, this is not everything. Hold on. Let me watch what I say.
Mm-hmm.
I think we speak obviously we speak different love languages. Mine is acts of service.
Mm-hmm.
So when I feel like that need or that love language is not being spoken to me, I tend to rise up and get defensive and want to challenge that, because I know that I try.
Mm-hmm.
Say try. I don't always speak your love language, but I know I try, and I make an effort to give you words of affirmation. So yeah, this is an act of service.
It was an act of service.
It is a missed act of service. I agree, Mike. I think people learn quicker when you show them by your inaction that your worth really is. But God says differently. The golden rule. Mike, are you comparing your living wife to racist white people? Your loving wife to racist white people? No, I didn't call any.
Wow.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Disclaimer: I didn't call any racial or ethnic group. I didn't say who they were.
But that's your mentality. I think that is your mentality with jobs, whatever. Like that is. If you're not going to value
any names. If you don't value me, I'm going to go where I'm valued and celebrated for the value that I bring. Period. Right. I would tell especially my black sons, especially if people are undermining you and saying that you're not worth anything, you're not bringing anything, you need to go into an environment where you're celebrated for the gifts and talents that God gave you. You better get from under that spirit of oppression.
I don't know if I would immediately tell them to do that. Let's say they have a job and so the boss is giving them a hard time.
They need to start their own company where they can add value, because they're already adding value. It's not recognized. God is giving us gifts. Mm-hmm. He's given us talents to be used. And I know I'm not going to just let somebody say, you didn't do anything. You're just sitting around. You didn't contribute anything to the success of that. I'm not going to let nobody do that.
So, guys, look in the feed. Shortly after this, I will be sure.
You're not sharing that.
Y'all know me personally. My battery life don't last long. But I know it's enough battery life to share that video. And you're going to see what happened. But we thank God that you have joined us once again. This has been another episode of Taboo Table Talk. We really appreciate you guys for tuning in and watching and listening and sharing your opinion, your God-given opinion with these two crazy people. We are grateful. We're really grateful. Have a wonderful day. And we're going to close with a word of prayer if you have nothing else to say.
Happy 4th of July. Happy Sabbath. Enjoy the freedom in which God has given you.
And the freedom you have in your marriage. Yeah. Go have a quickie. Go do it in a crazy
now you're
place.
Giving advice.
Yeah, now I'm the spokesperson for all things.
Wow.
All things freedom. Out of the box. Yeah, that's me. Me all day.
Oh, wow.
It's not. Anyway.
Okay, well, we're going to say a quick word of prayer for you guys, if you don't mind. Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you for today's topic. We thank you that there is freedom in marriage, Lord, and we thank you for the gift to be able to connect in a sexual, intimate way with one another. We know that that's a gift from you. And so we pray that you would help us to express our love with one another without any strings or transactions attached to it, but just out of the love and the abundance of love in our hearts for one another. So we give you praise for our marriages. We ask that you do something new this week as we start this new week on tomorrow. Lord, do something new. All the things that we're struggling with in our marriage, we ask that you help us and give us that open line of communication where we could talk and discuss these things with each other. We love you. We thank you for what you're doing. And we pray a special prayer over all the couples that are watching. We ask that you bless us and keep us until next week. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. Amen. Have a wonderful one, everyone. Thanks again for watching. And we will see you next week. Next week. Stay safe out there, y'all. Stay safe.
Let's go to the van right now.
Mike.